your day and stay safe. From KCRG TV9, this is First Alert Weather Now.
And good evening and welcome to the Friday night edition of First Alert Weather Now, where we have been dealing with some pretty consistent weather conditions all week long. Plenty of warm, very late summer-like weather, although it's been very comfortable for most of it too. So we'll take a look at where things are going in the next couple of days as you head into the weekend. What you need to know as you go out tonight will be some changes. A colder air mass is on the way. A cold front is actually moving through the area right now, and that will be bringing the difference in temperatures that we'll see as we go through Saturday and Sunday. That leads into the start of next week, which will actually be the coldest of the next several. That's when we bring in a risk for some frost or some freezing conditions, some of the coldest temperatures we've seen so far this season. But it's actually not that unusual for this time of year. Unfortunately, if you are looking for some precipitation, it's going to be real hard to come by. A sprinkle is probably the best we can see. Here's where we stand in terms of our wind directions and speeds right now. No wind all that strong, but you can tell where the cold front is thanks to the change in wind direction. So it hasn't quite made it to Cedar Rapids yet. Once you feel that wind switch to a northwesterly or northerly direction, that's when you'll know that things will have passed by at that point. Otherwise, it's Sunday that's going to bring the windiest conditions of the next several as gusts pick up. Your planner for the evening: if you're headed out by late this evening, you may need a light jacket, but by tomorrow morning, only falling to the low to mid 50s. Now, we have been dealing with the aftermath of Hurricane Milton throughout the week, and that is something that is, the cleanup is still ongoing around the state of Florida. Millions still dealing with power outages and, of course, picking up the pieces. Florida's governor continues to warn people to be cautious around those recovery efforts. ABC's Jacqueline Lee has the latest on how they're going.
As states from Florida to the Carolinas recover, the IRS is urging Americans looking to donate to verified charities beware of unsolicited text messages and never send money in the form of gift cards, wire transfers, or cryptocurrency. In eastern Florida, aerials showing roads collapsed and torn apart by Milton. Construction crews working to repair them. Helicopter footage capturing homes and businesses surrounded by floodwater. Millions of residents across the state still without power. Governor DeSantis urging caution as the restoration progresses.
We're now in the period where you have fatalities that are preventable. We have had fatalities because of interaction with downed power lines and water. We are seeing hazards that are still there. So please exercise caution.
The governor adding more than 1,600 people and over 140 animals were rescued, including this pig, affectionately named Millie, from a gas station in Lithia, east of Tampa. In St. Petersburg, residents surveying the damage, including this crane that collapsed onto a building.
I heard crackling, and after the crackling, I heard like a freight train hitting a big steel building, and then a bunch of crumble.
Allie Faller lives nearby.
Was there ever any point where you were scared about surviving?
No, it was more so just about being prepared, knowing your zones, knowing your routes, knowing what to do when things really get bad or get tough, and just being smart and being prepared and being calm.
The White House says President Biden will travel to Florida on Sunday to survey the damage.
I want everyone in the impacted areas to know we're going to do everything we can to let you help you pick back up the pieces and get back to where you were.
And forecasters say the weather this weekend will help with cleanup efforts as it is expected to stay dry. Jacqueline Lee, ABC News, St. Petersburg, Florida.
I really do appreciate what that one woman that Jacqueline spoke to about being prepared said. That really is the key when really dangerous weather approaches your area. You do just want to know what you're supposed to do. And obviously she did. And a lot of folks in Florida do know what to do, having too much experience with those hurricanes. Turning the page, First Alert meteorologist Joe Winters has today's forecast for fun as we head in the weekend.
If you are ready to get out and enjoy some fall-like weather, you're going to have a great weather forecast as we take a look at our forecast for fun. There you go. The fall foliage report shows that near peak color across northeastern areas of the state. Elsewhere patchy color, but there are some great spots in fall color that we've been seeing. Make sure you send in that picture to us through UNews on the First Alert weather app. Next week we'll start showing some of those fall foliage photos. Right now ongoing, a cider stroll in Czech Village. Temperatures dropping through the 70s after highs earlier today in the 80s. Again, goes until 8 o'clock. You still have time to get down there and enjoy. Friday Night Lights kickoff 7 o'clock, not far from right now, with our game of the week on KCRG 9.2. Decorah at Marion, 75 at kickoff, 66 in the fourth quarter with a partly cloudy sky. Fall activities tomorrow look good. The winds will be lighter and it'll feel a little bit more like fall with 50s in the morning and 70s in the afternoon. That means the pumpkin patch is going to be great on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday as that fall-like feel to the air moves in. As we look ahead at our Harvest Festival in Center Point, 74 on Saturday. We are looking for a good afternoon and evening, but the morning looks good as well. It'll be a little bit cooler, probably in the 60s as that Harvest Festival continues. And we still have the historic haunted tours going on tonight, Saturday, as well as Sunday in Waterloo. Temperatures drop from the 80s into the 60s. That is a look at your weekend forecast for fun.
Now, your First Alert forecast with meteorologist Corey Thompson.
A lot of good stuff going on this weekend. One of them is really, we have seen that change in the leaves a little bit. Meteorologist Joe Winters highlighted that a little bit. I want to highlight it a little bit more just because I've noticed it around my neighborhood. Perhaps you have too. Up in northeast Iowa, we've started to see some of that progress a little bit more so in our northern zones in particular, but that has really started to spread down to the central zone and it's starting to touch the southern zone as well. We've seen views from folks down south of Interstate 80 and from our city cam views too of some nice and vibrant colors starting to show up. Hopefully you can hang on for a little bit as we head into the next week or so. View from our Fayette City Cam, we've lost the daylight, so it doesn't necessarily make those colors show up as well as when the sun is up, but it was quite colorful earlier this afternoon with that view from the Upper Iowa campus. Temperatures around the area in the 70s or low 80s, so that doesn't really match the season so well. 81 degrees in Cedar Rapids, 75 in Fayette. Now the winds currently in most locations still coming out of the southwest. We showed you that at the top of the show here, but they will begin to shift to a more northerly direction as we go through the night. Now they won't increase in speed all that much, keeping that in green here on your first alert. Precipitation also looking unlikely despite a cold front moving through the area. This front is slipping past without much effect other than that increase in clouds we've seen as we've gone through the day. Now, an area of low pressure associated with this to the southwest is giving us some of that wind as we'll go through the day on Saturday, but even that will be pretty manageable to start off the weekend. Now your first alert forecast tonight, temperatures get down to 49 in Charles City, 55 in Washington, so pretty close to last night around the area. Not that cold yet. Now clouds are going to help. If you see more clearing, especially in the north, temperatures may beat those numbers by just a little bit on the cool side without that ability for clouds to insulate that cooling off. So you see here by midnight a decent amount of cloud cover going on, but no precipitation within them. By tomorrow morning, we may see those clouds break up a little bit, giving us a little bit of a period of clearer sky early in the day. Now, later on, another bank of clouds could be passing through, but I expect still to see some sunshine here too, and so don't fully expect a totally overcast sky as we go through the first day of the weekend. Now into the second, we'll see clearing again for Saturday night, but on Saturday night, early Sunday morning, we're expecting a second cold front to move through. Now this front also has no moisture to work with for our part of the world, and so we're expecting it to pass by without precipitation, but it's really going to usher in a cooler air mass, especially into early next week. Now your first alert forecast for tomorrow, a bit of variation. Farther north, 68 in Charles City and Fayette. Down to the south, 83 in Mount Pleasant, 80 in Washington, in between in the 70s. So that front will actually make a bigger deal. The farther north you go, it's just going to take some more time for the rest of us to get involved. 74 on Saturday, sort of as a middle average. 64 though on Sunday, with cooler temperatures still hanging around to the north. You see that pouring in of cooler air after Saturday. Sunday into Monday and Tuesday, really when we're going to feel it the most, and that's when we could get involved in some of those frosty conditions, especially Tuesday morning. Looks like our best chance as we go over the next several. Quick preview of your 9-day forecast. Looking ahead, temperatures will be at their coolest Monday and Tuesday. Their warmest again late next week. Seems like Fridays just have that going for it lately. Seems to be the warmest day of the week pretty consistently, and we're going to see that pattern repeat here. The only chance for precipitation of any substance looks like it could be next Saturday, and we'll have to cross our fingers for that. Now, with some clearer skies at times, we have the opportunity to take a look at some of the things going on outside of our atmosphere. Meteorologist Joe Winters takes a look beyond the weather.
Early October has proved to be very quiet weather-wise, certainly. We've seen lots of clear skies in our nighttime skies. That should continue as we head through the next week or so, giving us a chance at some pretty good beyond-the-weather views. This weekend and much of the next week, early in the morning, you can find the moon. It'll be very obvious in the sky. The southwestern sky is where you want to look, and it's nice to always find the planets. You can find the planet Saturn. If you are also looking around midnight this weekend, as well as this is going to be through the month of October, October, Mars will be lower than the moon, or the Mars will be lower than the moon on the horizon. That'll be kind of between the northeast and eastern skies. Again, clear skies are important. Find the moon first and use the moon to find those planets. Now, the October moon phases coming our way. We do have the full moon coming on the 17th. We'll talk about that in a second. Last quarter on the 24th. Then we head into the new month of November. Our new moon is on the 1st, and our first quarter comes on the 8th. As far as our full moon for the month of October, this will be known as our harvest moon this year. Again, it is the first full moon after the fall equinox. It does fall in October this year, but also known as a hunter's moon. Why a hunter's moon? Well, because it was a time that the fields were harvested and the game was fattened up for the winter. Easy time to go hunting. A migrating moon, a travel moon, a falling leaves moon. But this year again, it is our harvest moon. It's also going to be a supermoon. That means it's closest in its orbit this month to the Earth in perigee, slightly larger and slightly brighter. The difference, though, not really noticeable or discernible to the naked eye. That's kind of gives you a little size comparison. A supermoon, again, just slightly larger. You may notice it seems a bit brighter or seems a bit larger. That's why it's called the supermoon. As far as our viewing forecast, anything in red, not great for viewing, and it does look like some clouds will impact our viewing, certainly, as we work through Friday and Saturday. We will notice Saturday into Sunday things do start to clear out, and I think Saturday night into Sunday morning may be a good time to take a look, and then I think early next week also as we see some clear skies, allowing our temperatures to drop. Upcoming launches, we do have several coming up. October 13th, that'll come from Starbase, Texas. A SpaceX launch in November. Blue Origin is launching a rocket from Cape Canaveral, and the Axiom Mission 4 goes off in December. Also, we want to let you know that our comet we've been watching, and this again came from the International Space Station, is going to be brightest as we head from now all the way through about the 24th of the month. So we're going to watch to see how bright this comet will be as it completes its trip around the sun. It's about 92 million miles from Earth, discovered in 2023. May need a small telescope or binoculars, but stay tuned. We'll give you updates certainly as we get closer. And don't forget, a big activity coming up at the Palisades Dalles Observatory on October 26th with the Cedar Amateur Astronomers. That is tonight's look beyond the weather.
We're going to give you a little bonus beyond the weather content here because of the northern lights that were out and about last night. They were pretty widespread, at least at periods of time overnight. This was sent to us by Rick and Paula from Lost Nation. A lot of nice green and red, and that will be the theme as we go and look through some of these photos here that we received through UNews from you. And this is from Dennis in Potosi. I believe this actually was from earlier last week. There was another opportunity, I believe, on Tuesday night. We saw some of that northern light activity, but of course this is farther north, lower on the horizon, so it was a little harder to see. Last night's a bit more widespread, a bit more up in the sky, and easier to see across really more of the United States. But that's a beautiful view there near the Mississippi. View from North Liberty. Morgan caught this just looking out the front door. That's the best way to be able to spot these sorts of things if you don't have to take any extra steps. There was a period of time last night where they were so bright where you could see them within city limits around eastern Iowa. This is from Sebastian near Wellsburg. A semi-truck in the foreground and plenty of nice color in the background with that field of stars too. Looks really, really pretty. Finally, from Anamosa, Keith sent us this picture. That flagpole illustrates how calm the winds were last night, which was a big assistance to photographers and any just observers. It kept it from feeling a little too chilly. Look at that vibrant red and green. If you took pictures of the northern lights last night or any sort of weather related or astronomical related or news related item you want to send to us, get out the KCRG TV9 First Alert Weather app, hit that submit button in the lower right corner, brings up this screen, hit add media, and it adds it right to the weather album, and we can share it here on TV9. Now, as far as the next 9 are concerned, things should stay pretty comfortable tomorrow. It's going to be cooler in the north, warmer in the south. And so that is the split that we're facing as we head into the weekend. But it's next week when we could see some of those frosty conditions develop, all because of the influx of cooler air that we're expecting on Sunday. Look at this northwest wind between 20 to 30 miles per hour. That is really going to pull in that chillier air mass down from Canada. And that sends our highs and lows below normal. First time we've been able to say that in Cedar Rapids since, well, early September. So it will be a bit of a change of pace, but it's not even by that much. It's by just a small handful of degrees. Look at the top, normal high of 64. Normal low gets down to, well, not quite as cold as what we're expecting early next week, 41 degrees for that normal low. Overnight lows will be in the 30s, promoting that frost chance, and it's especially Tuesday where we can see that coolest temperature develop. But as we go through the week, we're going to bounce back. Expect things to be back 10 to 20 degrees above normal as we go toward the end of it, as highs get back to the mid and upper 70s. A little bit of downward trajectory as we head toward the following weekend, still several days away, and so we'll be keeping you informed as we get a little bit closer. And that's what we'll be doing next week, each night, Monday through Friday, here at the same time and same place. I want you to enjoy the weekend, and we'll catch you back here Monday night. Have a good one.